Good afternoon, board members, Mr. Santos district staff, and extended UIZ family listening in. Time is 12:02 p.m. on this, the 11th day of August 2020, and I call the meeting of the United Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. If I can have all the board members say out their names.
Ricardo Monilla Sr.
Ricardo Rick Rodriguez.
Alicia Oliveros.
And myself, Ramiro Veliz. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Agenda item 3, Pledge of Allegiance and Texas Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with dignity and justice for all. On one Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, any public comments submitted?
No, sir.
No public comments submitted. Okay, at this time, we will respectfully request everyone to remain on board as the board adjourns into closed session for agenda item number 5. Closed session time is now 12:04 p.m. and the board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to sections 551.071 and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code to discuss agenda item 5A. We will be back shortly. Thank you. Agenda item 6, reconvening from closed session. The time is now 12:26 p.m. The board will take appropriate action on items if necessary as discussed in closed session. Item 6A, there's no action required. Agenda item 7, item for individual consideration. Item 7A, approve the 2020-2021 United ISD asynchronous instructional plan.
Good afternoon, members of the board, members of Santos, members of the audience. This afternoon, we bring before you our plan. Administration recommends to the UISD Board of Trustees to approve the 2020-21 UISD asynchronous instructional plan for submission to the Texas Education Agency. The rationale behind this is the model will deliver the requirements for remote instruction for all campuses and teachers. The Texas Education Agency will evaluate this plan and provide recommendations or approve it as it is, if it meets the state requirements. As far as implementation of mobile learning devices and MiFis and access points have been previously addressed. If you go to page 1 of the plan, here's our outline. I know 2 weeks ago we came before you and we talked about how the plans will be laid out. We can go over the 32-page plan if you want, but really what we're looking at is the asynchronous instructional plan. It's open-ended responses already filled out. Part 3, the attestations, everything is prepared. The only thing pending is the UISD approval. We get that date, and that's what's pending from our Texas Education Agency. The outline is there. If there's anything you want us to go over, we're here for the explanation.
No, I don't think that it's necessary. We've gone over the plan. I think every board member has received the information in detail. We again want to thank you and your staff, Mr. Gonzalez, for the amount of effort that was dedicated to this. I know it's something that's completely new for us, brand new direction, but it's something that's necessitated at the moment. So we feel that it's going to be the correct path for us, and I think it's going to be keeping us at the level that we maintained in the past. So again, thank you very much. I don't know if any of the board members have any comments.
I've seen the plan.
We're gonna see how it works, and that's fine. Everything's gonna be new, so we have to go step by step.
I've seen the plan. I think it's pretty rigorous. I know it's got to be a flexible plan.
Yes, sir.
As we go through the year, because things have changed. Things continue to change. My concern was always, the teachers and the ones in the trenches, so to speak, how their workload is going to be and how they're adjusting, and how our children are going to be reacting to this. I think Ms. Rodriguez's plan is probably the most thorough plan here. When it comes to elementary, it's pretty rigorous. I hope it pans out. And if it does, then our kids are probably going to be very well prepared. I'm always optimistic.
Thank you, Mr. Mateo. Any other board members?
No.
No, sir.
All right, thank you. We have a motion regarding the approval of instructional plan as presented.
Second.
Motion.
All right, so we'll have a motion by Mr. Mateo, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 All those opposed? None opposed, motion passes.
Commissioner's report. So for the record, on August 11, 2020, the Board of Trustees approved the AIP open, our instructional plan will be submitted to TA for approval. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8, information agenda item 8A, United IC Instructional School Model Plan 2020-2021.
Yes, sir. And again, this is a united effort. So with this instructional school models, all campus principals have been working with our executive directors that are here present this afternoon on instructional learning plans to meet the needs of every UISD student and staff. Through intensive planning, data evaluation, modifications, continuous guidance from our Texas Education Agency, campus models are being presented for further evaluation and input from our board members. The models presented this afternoon will be sections divided in 3 sections as follows: the grouping methods, the design, the explanations. Schedules are being crafted as we speak to allow teachers to use UISD scope and sequence for the delivery of a rigorous instruction activities based on teach-based curriculum. The schedules also allow our teachers to transition on campus face-to-face learning during the present COVID-19 pandemic period. And these schedules are also being based on the current bandwidth availability through our district. Important to note, and again, we are going, as we start the school year, virtually, with the exception of those students who either don't have a device or not provided one, or don't have any internet continuity. So this time, I'm going to start with the elementary model. I'm going to ask Cindy Rodriguez, our Secretary of Elementary, to present this model at this time.
Are you talking about rotation, groupings of teachers, employees, or
Yes, sir.
teachers?
Yes,
Specifically?
we wanted to make clear to you some of the questions that we figured we anticipated you might have as to how is this going to work. So if you look, you have the rotation frequency. So how many times are the teachers going to be taking turns, if you will, to come in and do face-to-face or on-campus instruction? In other words, these students would come in physically into the classroom setting. And so we paired our teachers, or we asked the campuses to team them up. As a matter of fact, we took care of these plans yesterday with all our principals at the elementary level. And we asked them to team them in either teams of 2s or 3s. That's why you see dyads or triads, so teams of 2s or 3s. And so every 3 weeks, the teachers, if they're in a team, and you have your remote teacher paired up with the teacher that's going to do face-to-face. And the first teacher that is, we're going to be doing face-to-face will be doing it for 3 weeks in that team. And then the teacher that is remote for those 3 weeks, when the next 3 weeks come up, then they will swap. If you have a triad, because we have some campuses that have grade levels where the teams are not even. So let's say you have a team of 7 or 5, then you will have some teachers that are teamed up in 2s, and then you have to team up some teachers in a triad, what we call a triad, in 3s. In those cases, that's why I put there, that would be the only exception where you would have a teacher who would wait for 6 weeks before it's his or her turn again to do face-to-face instruction on the campus. Okay, and then the rotation groupings, your dyads and triads, which I had just explained. So this allows the students, just like you have in your dual language classes, they have two teachers that they become very familiar with and that take care of them, you know, throughout the school year. And so we figured this would be the best plan. In those cases where we have a triad, we are going to ensure that the teachers are given a lot of support, a lot of guidance, and time to plan together to be just as cohesive as they would if they were in a team of two. And then the maximum number of students per classroom, and we debated back and forth. I know we've gotten different information. And we looked at the classroom setups. If we go with 12 or less, we figure that we can arrange the desks in such a way with the adequate distancing to keep our students safe. Our students will be educated or the lessons will be delivered in a virtual platform. So that already allows that distancing and that safety measure, which will automatically be in place. So we figure that we can have 12 students in an elementary classroom if that's the need, depending on the number of students that are coming in face-to-face. That would be the maximum. And then substitute scheduling, because that question has come up. So what happens when a teacher is absent? How are we going to take care of this? The first plan of action is to fall back on the fact that the teachers have been teamed up. And so that might take care of it right there and then, right? Because they're already working in teams and they can cover for each other. This new virtual platform does allow us a little more options, right, in taking care of these situations. But in the event that, let's say, due to a breakout, something that might happen that both teachers have to be out, then we will go into a virtual disbursement plan. And just like when before all of this happened, if you weren't able to bring a sub, the principal needed to make sure that we would cover that class. And they might divide up the students amongst the teachers in that grade level. The first plan will be to look on campus to see who we have to cover the class, because you might have another professional staff member who has very few kids and can be asked to cover that class. If not, then of course, then they will look at other options. We're working with HR to see if district-wide, there might be some teachers that can be clustered and allow assistance with these campuses. But that would be a really special situation. For the most part, we anticipate that your team already can take care of that with your dyads or triads. And then the selection of the teachers as to, who goes first, who goes next. Much like before COVID occurred, the principals would select the right, we take a lot of care in the way that we put together our rosters and make sure that we have a well-balanced class and then match it to the right teacher. So it would be the same way. We do have some campuses that have pathfinders where the pathfinder may be the first one or they can resort to the team leader. And then yesterday, in working with the principals, we actually found that several campuses have teachers who have come forward and have volunteered to come into the campus and do the face-to-face instruction for those classes that need a face-to-face. So, I don't know if you have any questions. And of course, we're taking care of our special ed classes as well. Our resource teachers at the elementary, you have 2 resource teachers at every campus. So that's your automatic do it right there. And they would team up and they would flip-flop with each other and take turns every 3 weeks. With our unit teachers, it was just discussed this morning with our principals as to how they can also have a rotation plan if they have multiple units at the campus. And if not, then we will work with them individually to find how we can cluster them with other campuses to assist with that. Does anybody have any questions?
I guess just for the purposes of listening, what is the purpose of the rotation?
The purpose of the rotation is so that since we don't have, like I mentioned, we have some campuses that actually have teachers who volunteer, but the majority you don't have volunteers coming forth and saying they would do the face-to-face. So we needed to find a system, some kind of way that would be fair to all, to be able to bring in, how do we decide which teachers come in to teach face-to-face and which teachers stay at home and work remotely? So that was the purpose of the plan.
You're not gonna have any pull-outs for those reading and.
Yes, reading intervention, dyslexia, everything will go on the way that we have planned it, although it's virtual. In some cases, it's more of a hybrid. Let's say, for example, you have some students that participate in the dyslexia program and they actually want to come in face-to-face. Well, then we will have a hybrid plan. And it works the same way as like we're planning for the teachers. We provided a template for our principals so that they can visually see and work out the numbers and be able to balance the classes and their programs. Pullouts are a little easier to do because you already have the teacher of record and all they do is just they either pull out virtually or they pull out physically. Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. For the middle school plan, it's following the same format. And so we have the rotation frequency, which is every 3 weeks. This is a plan that we have across our instructional components. So the teachers, we're following the old teaming approach. In the old days, about 4 or 5, 6 years ago, we had team A, team B. And so those teachers would be the ones that will be coming in every 3 weeks. First group would be, of course, team A when we start on August 24th. And then 3 weeks later, they'll switch out. We also have students that will be assigned to a teacher. So if I am the student and this is not my teacher, I'm gonna report to my teacher that is assigned at the campus, depending on what team I'm heading with. And that person will take care of my instructional lesson for that day, or monitoring instruction with either the remote teacher if need be, but they'll be the ones in charge with those kids. And we have the maximum number of students. It just every school is different, as you know. We have most of them can probably fit up to 10, but there might be some areas where we can fit up to 12, like if it's a science room or an art room. And of course, if you go to like Clark has much smaller rooms, and so that might be more of a 9. If you look at substituting of course is in-house coverage, unless there is a substitute is approved by HR, like if someone's out on FMLA for a long period of time, all of that needs to be approved by HR, but most of it will be covered in-house, such as your academic coordinator, your counselors can go ahead, and this depends on the circumstances of what the need is for that day. Selection of teachers, of course, I met with the principals on Friday, and they're already aware of this, so they're already dividing their teams up as equally as we can, to be fair. And they'll begin the rotation process August 24th until further notice. Any questions?
Any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you, Dave.
Yes, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Good afternoon. For the high school, the rotation frequencies will be every 3 weeks. This allows students to work, it's every 3 weeks, core teachers in every content area. Rotation groupings, core area teachers will rotate every 3 weeks. Elective teachers will rotate based on their specializations and will report as needed. For example, there's a shop teacher or an ag teacher and we only have one. That teacher will come daily if the students that are there will be attending school and they have that particular class. The maximum number of students are 4 to 5 students, and we can fit up to 10, but because the students will be working through their Chromebooks with their teacher, the teacher will be also having their own classes through virtually too. So the less students in the classroom, better students, and we do have a lot of teachers. Substituting, department heads will assist by student class schedules. Campus will have a plan to divide up students for virtual selection of teachers, the rotation determined by the principal. determined by the rosters and students' needs, if principals determine the rotation schedule. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Just to share with the board, I think we have a very good plan, and like anything else, I think it's fluid. I think once we start school, and if we need to tweak it, then we'll tweak it at that point in time. I think the executives and Mr. Gonzalez and the campus principals have really spent a lot of time to try to figure out what's the best way to deliver the instruction to our students, and obviously it's not the same as it was in spring. This is more intensive, since we've got to meet all the requirements from the state agency.
Well, the main thing is gonna be how many students actually show up, and from there we can definitely be adjusting.
Absolutely. We met with principals this morning, and basically going to be sending us a list of students that going to come on face-to-face, and then we'll get staff to make some adjustments to make sure we cover all areas. We've got some special needs students that will be showing up, and regular students.
I think the other
Unos cuantos.
a lot of them need
Ramirez.
guidance to log on,
Yes.
log off, log back on. I think high school and middle school is probably a little more tech savvy, you know, as they are a little more mature and being able to do things. You know, I have a high school child, so she does it. So that's, but well, for me, ultimately, the key question I have is, how are you going to take attendance when it comes to those kids who may log on at one point, but then their mother leaves, or father, their parent leaves, and they're not around, and they can't log on the rest of the day. You know, how do we calculate that? That's going to be key. I think that's something.
I think we talked about that this morning, and one of the things that we need to do, obviously, we need to get staff at the campuses to be able to identify who's logged in, who's not logged in, and even high school kids, as they log out, that's where you're able to get on the phone and begin to call parents and say, hey, child is no longer online. And we go back to the 90-10 rule that they've got to be basically in attendance for 90% of the day.
For each of their classes in high school.
Yes.
Versus elementary.
Very different. And it's, again, I go back, it's going to be very different and very unique. We've never done this. You know, we've never done this, and we need to make some adjustments. We'll make adjustments, I think, as we go along, going back to what the statements were going on, that you know, I know parents have to work, and not all parents are going to be there. It is different. I know kids, I hate to say it, but they've gotten bad sleeping habits, and they're getting up late. So all that has to change to be able to get those students, you know, to log on at the right time, and also for us to be able to get some credit, and the students to get some credit, enough hours on to be able to get a credit or pass.
Out of curiosity, sir, you don't know the answer to this. If we have a couple of positives at a particular campus, and God forbid we have to shut down, does the state recognize waivers for those kinds of issues at this point?
I think they do, but I think the waiver, and Mr. Adon might want to chime in, I think we also have to provide Chromebooks to all students to be able to take home immediately and log on remote. That's correct.
Transition immediately, sir. Go through if there is a forced shutdown. So from one day to the next, you may be on campus, and the following day, you're receiving your instruction remotely. To clarify, it's 90% attendance for the semester.
Yes. And also, I think we've got to shut down, and Mr. Adon might jump in. I think we've got to shut down for 5 days. If there is 2 positives in the campus or a department, but more at the campus, obviously 5 days. And that's where we need to have those Chromebooks available for those students.
Is that plan already in place?
It is in place. The hardest part is, as we speak, we're waiting for our Chromebooks. I mean, additional Chromebooks. But that's going to be our plan. And you know, one of the questions somebody asked this year is it going to be remote the whole year? Part of it, probably, you know, it'll probably be part of it. And again, the students that want to do the face-to-face on campus, and we'll probably have to offer that, unless the governor shuts us down. Yes.
I'd like to share something with you. I've got 4 high school principals here with us, so they did log in. The main part is high school, as you all know, it's going to be challenging, but we're going to do it. And also, I'd like to share with you that today, from 5 to 6, United South High School will be distributing Chromebooks for the parents that the students don't have cars and they need to go pick up Chromebooks. So they're going to be working extra just to make sure that we have everything ready for those kids starting August 24th.
Thank you. We appreciate everybody's effort. I know it has been a very busy summer for our district, for our employees, and in preparation for the start of this year, which is going to be, as previously mentioned, really something new for everybody. So again, we thank everybody for their hard work and dedication to our students. All right, so with that, we move to agenda item 9.
We do have one more,
I'm sorry.
8B.
I'm sorry, yeah, 8B, adopting school of Schoology, PA recommendation of USD, new learning management system.
Yes, good afternoon, board
Good afternoon.
members. We're here before you presenting the information on UISD's adoption of Schoology based on TEA's recommendation, and this will be the new learning management system that we will use. Now, a lot of the questions that have been posed, especially that about tracking students' work. This is the learning management system that TEA has put forward for that specific purpose so that we can track when students are logging in. We can track when they're logging in that a teacher is not there. That means that they're engaging into the curriculum on their own. And so that's the reason that we went ahead and we did submit our letter of intent to TEA for us to use Schoology for the 2021 and 21-22 school years. Now, the state has vetted this program. They went through the RFP process at the state level. And so this one will be free. The system will be free for 2 years. And so that's at about a savings of $125,000 per year. Now, with this system, of course, they did offer a basic level of implementation and connectivity with our Tyler student information system. However, we did opt, Mr. Hector Perez helped, and we vetted what the best situation for UISD would be. So we did opt to go with a custom implementation package. And so that does have a cost of $67,800 for year 1 only. And then after that, the professional development suite, because they have several modules within the system, that will be at only $1,500 per year. And that is what they'll offer to all districts. Can we see this in the next slide, please? So there's 5 steps in the process, and we've already done step 1. Which is to submit the letter of intent. Step 2 is that Schoology will assign an implementation team to our district. We just received that email this morning, and we start next week with implementation. And then they're going to be providing the complete data from Tyler's SIS to Schoology. Now, the important thing here is that Schoology houses all of the Google tools. So all of our teachers have been trained on Google, and they're using Google Classroom. Once we transition to Schoology, they'll be using Schoology, but within Schoology, they'll have access to all their Google tools, which is Sheets, Docs, the Drive. All of that will be housed within Schoology. Once we get to where we want to be with Schoology, and since it's going to be communicating with Tyler SIS, what teachers will be grading on Schoology, and the grades will automatically transfer to Tyler. So that'll be another step helping our teachers, since they're doing so many things that are new. Probably one of the most important things here is the student engagement. For those students, especially with the high school where Ms. Barrera was talking about, those kids that are gonna log in after hours, right? After 5, after 6, then we will be able to track their engagement, and then we will be able to update our attendance so that we can mark those students present through asynchronous learning. That's probably one of the most important benefits that Schoology has. And again, the state selected them because of this ability that this student learning management system has. If we can go to the next slide. And this one just provides what we're getting in the custom package. And again, probably, I know Mr. Perez was very, wanted to make sure that we would get that additional support with Tyler SIS, since that is our student information system and that is where we house all of our data. So that's why we went with the custom package, so that we could get that implementation team, and Mr. Perez will have a technology team, and CNI will have an instructional team, and then working together, we're gonna make sure that the implementation is on point for United ISD.
Continuing on. Next slide, please. Transition from Google to Schoology. First bullet, the access previously created materials to Schoology is able to integrate with Google, Microsoft, and other programs. To hold virtual office hours, to keep students learning and engaged, and give parents opportunities to ask questions in real time. Provide parents with fully visibility into the child's learning through a parent portal, and allow parents the opportunity to message teachers. I want to look at the last bullet in this slide. To use Schoology conferences, announcements, messages, discussions, Zoom, Microsoft Teams for continuing the asynchronous communication with students online. The next slide, the implementation plan itself. The first bullet, to develop a training schedule for all campus administrators and teachers. So we're working with our CIT department, all our ITTs, and we're also going to be training our coordinators so they can be well-versed. I'm talking about our campus coordinators, but our coordinators are going to be well-versed as well, because they also get calls from our teachers. Second bullet there, develop a timeline for transition with Google Classroom to Schoology. All other Google tools will be housed in Schoology. So we'll work with Google as well. Develop a parallel system to ensure the grading integration in working on Tyler, student information system, and generating accurate reports, progress report cards. Second to last bullet, real important, develop a system for downloading and analyzing student instructional reports so that teachers and administrators can monitor student engagement and academic progress. And also develop a continuous communication plan for students and parents on using Schoology. The second to last bullet is real important because we're always assessing students. We don't need the data itself, but just to assess students how they're doing on a daily basis. And finally, in the last slide, continuous communication. Our department will continuously inform our Superintendent Santos and you, the Board of Trustees, on the implementation of Schoology by providing usage reports, providing data analytical summary reports, and surveying teachers, administrators, students, and parents on the use of this new learning management system. As a district, we will also promptly communicate any issues or concerns with the TA and Commissioner Morant. Well, thank you for your support as we venture into this new year of extremely challenging items that we have with the COVID-19 is going on in our community.
Any questions, anybody?
So how free is free? I don't.
Well, basically it's free for 2 years. The only difference there is we decided to go with the training module to be able to get us going, and it's really, that's following year is $1,500. I think at the end of the day, it does a lot of things. Number one, I think it's reports and assistance from TA, which is, I think, a lot of districts throughout the state now are going to be able to get into that, retrieve data and get all the information that we need.
And we're paying for, really, if I may, Mr. Santos, we're paying for the 80 hours of professional development and set up the backend setup that Mr. Perez has been requesting.
I think they charge per teacher for training teacher. And it's an informational item. We really don't have an issue here. Like, the only issue is at this point, we're 2 weeks away from the start of the school. Y'all have conducted,
It'll run parallel.
We'll follow with Google.
a huge amount of trainings. You know, you're still going to have to use Tyler. You're not going to get rid of Tyler yet.
No, and we don't want to get rid of Tyler. I think that's where.
And then you still have to, those third-party apps that y'all have, even the other Zoom and some of the other apps, you're still gonna have to have contracts on it. So, hey, this is what's gonna help you get you to another level.
Mr. Montalban, if I may, for everything that's difficult, we understand, but at this time, working with the administrative staff, we feel that it is the best venture for the district to go, not only because it is something that our Commissioner Moran has been pretty much communicating with all districts across the state, but looking at the system in place, we feel that this is the right path to go with our instructional plan. And as you know, remind everybody that STAR is still being held accountable for all school districts across the state.
I appreciate that, Mr. Gonzalez. I think the commissioner perhaps, the state always has issues in how they contract and who they want to bring in. Perhaps the commissioner may have a personal interest in contracting these companies. My concern is the teachers. We're 2 weeks away. You have not trained a single person on it. I'm not sure if anybody here has actually used the program, and that's all I'm concerned with. Is getting the teachers ready. Were they even surveyed at all? Or when you say we feel, are we making decisions from this board and at the administrative level without considering the teachers? That's my only concern here. And as long as we keep in mind who's going to use this program, and are they going to be ready to go in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month from now? When are they going to be able to?
It's going to be a transition.
It's already in play right now.
Yes. We're going to have a transition period.
Yeah, I had some teachers work with it. I asked some teachers to look at it to see how effective it was. There's a lot of the San Antonio charter schools are using these. I think Fort Bend
Universities as well.
They're also using this program. So it's not an issue of the program, it's an issue of our employees going to be ready. But with the stress that we have now, with the teachers, trying to learn all the Google things that they need to learn to be ready, then we throw in another program for them to learn. That's my only concern.
One thing concern, again, we're gonna continue working with our teachers. It's not a normal year. So normally we go to a committee with teacher support, but we go into recommendation with the state because they have their own committee as well. Thank you.
All right, agenda item 9, adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. We have a second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unopposed, motion carries. Special call meeting is adjourned at 1:01 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you.